we doing, guys? JH Boxing Fan back with another video. Hope you're well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, you could help me reach my target, my revised target, 1,000 subs by the end of the year. Now, I'm suffering a bit of the old common cold, so apologies if I'm sniffing throughout the video. And touching on this weekend's action in Phoenix, Arizona, with John Ryder, of course, out in action against Mexican Jaime Munguia at 168. John Ryder in what could be what he says could be his last hurrah. He's going in with the #1 ranked, although he's only been out once at that weight, but the rankings say that is the case. So depending, of course, on what Canelo does next, if he chooses to take a money fight, we could see one of those titles becoming vacant, and the winner of this fight could potentially find themselves fighting for a vacant title. We're coming out in that in just a minute. Just before we do, I thought we'd pick up on some boxing news this week. Matchups are getting announced all the time at the minute, aren't they, guys? Great fights seem to be getting made. A few that I've picked out of interest, starting with one that was actually made a couple of weeks ago, and that's, of course, the fight down at 135 pounds involving Lomachenko and George Cambos, who will be fighting sometime in May for the vacant IBF title. Lomachenko bidding to become a two-time lightweight world champion. As we know, he won the title previously, defeating Linares, going on to defend against Pedraza and Crolla and the likes. It's an interesting fight. I mean, it's ironic in some ways because obviously this fight was meant to get made a couple of years ago. In some ways, Bosis has Lomachenko to thank for winning those titles against Teofimo Lopez. Because of course it was Teofimo Lopez that beat Canelo to win the titles. So it's sort of gone full circle now with Lomachenko and Cambos going in for a vacant title. I look at Lomachenko's career, the 17-3. I know he's fought some great guys in the division, but you do feel that record it doesn't really sort of paint the full picture. And even at the tender age of 35, I think that there's still another chapter to be had in the Lomachenko story. I mean, I think one of the issues, he has to stay at that weight really because of his size. I think he would struggle up at sort of like welter, but bravely going over to Australia to Cambos' home backyard. Martin Bakole, he's been ordered to fight in a WBA eliminator against Americus Cassius Chaney. Bakole is one of those guys, isn't he, that he doesn't seem to get his name sort of mentioned with sort of the big guys in the division, even though he's been #1 ranked now for quite some time. I'm sure he's known to people in the division. You think he's been used at sparring and by a lot of them, and he's a lump, like 6'6". He's only lost the one fight to Michael Hunter. That was back in 2018. Since then he's been on a bit of a run, and of course he had that impressive stoppage last time out in the early round against Carlos Takam. I know Carlos Takam is sort of at the back end of his career, but big fight for Martin Bakole. Obviously he can get that one done, and depending on what then goes on between Fury and Usyk, potentially Bakole could find himself in line. I think Manuel Char is the regular title holder at WBA, and of course Usyk is the super champion, but we'll see. Remains to be seen what happens there should Fury and Usyk rematch, and whether the governing bodies will potentially go along with that or order the mandatory. I know that the IBF have said that they will do, which puts Hrgovic and Joshua in position, as we know. Benham Smith and Richard Riakporhe, we've been told by boxers, is all but made, subject to just sort of formalities. So that's an exciting one in an all-British rematch with Chris Smith, obviously defending his WBO Cruiserweight title. It was a cracking fight the first time out. Obviously since then they've both gone on to gain more experience. I'd like to have seen Ryder a bit more active. In fairness, I think sort of given it was about 5 years ago since those two fought, he's not sort of kicked on as I thought he might. Bellum Smith, by contrast, has obviously gone on to win British Commonwealth and then the world title against Norris and Coley. And he's already defended that title. So he's obviously been the more active of the two of them. But I would still sort of give Ryder the edge. I just feel like he was obviously he was better of the two last time out. I think it will be a tough night for Bellum Smith. But as I say, he's a champion. Bellum Smith will do his best to get it down in Bournemouth, where he's been so effective in his last few outings with that home crowd down there. Sandy Ryan set to defend her WBA title at welterweight against Terry Harper. That's a fight that's set for Sheffield in March, and that's what I like. Terry Harper, we know, holds title at super welter, and she's obviously formerly been the unified super featherweight champion before she lost to Alicia Baumgardner. So she's aiming to become a free weight world champion against Sandy Ryan. Obviously hearing that Beterbiev and Bivol is getting closer. Likewise, Taylor and Cattrall too, and Taylor Cameron free. So plenty going on. Some strange news regarding Jai Opetaia, who was sent home early from Tyson Fury's camp following their sparring preparation, obviously for Fury and Usyk's matchup next month. Rumours running rife that Opetaia had sort of put Fury down and knocked him out in sparring. Can't handle it. It's too good. Sparring's too good, so you're going to have to go home and leave the camp. Obviously, that's been denied by both sides. Well, certainly Opetaia denied. I don't know if Fury's commented on it, but I mean, I don't know if it's a real story really. I'm sure there's all sorts of reasons why fighters get pulled in and out of camps, not least the fact that obviously Opetaia's going in with Ryders. I'm sure that's more likely what's gone on, but I mean, this idea that Fury is infallible still, I don't want to sound like a Fury hater. I know that I've probably been critical in the past of the fact that he's only defended his WBC title, I think 3 times in the last 4 years. Something that annoys me about that. But look, he's looked vulnerable at times. We've seen not just Ngannou last time out, but we've seen Wilder put him down several times. He's been down before. I think Cunningham put him down. So he's susceptible, man. And I don't have any doubts that when he goes in with Usyk, I give Usyk every chance at stopping Tyson Fury. I think the most likely outcome is a points decision win for Usyk, but wouldn't surprise me if Usyk gets stopped. Timing is what causes power, not size and strength. A lot of the time it's timing, and these guys, likes of Usyk and Jai Opetaia, these are killers when it comes to timing. From the big guys to the light guys, Shiro Teraji retained his unified titles down at 108 pounds by defeating Canizales in a majority decision at the start of the week. That's a fight that I've heard very good things about. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I've just seen a few snippets and highlights, but I haven't watched it properly. But I hope it was a close fight, majority decision. One judge gave it a draw, but Teraji retains his titles at light flyweight. Guys, let's get into this weekend. John Ryder going in with a man in Jaime Munguia, who is 42-0. On the face of it, this looks like a difficult night's work for John Ryder. 2 questions really to ask on this one. Just how good really is Munguia at 168? And what does Ryder have left in the tank? I don't mean that when I say what has Ryder got left in the tank, I don't mean that, I think he's 35, sort of mid-30s. He's not old by any means, but he's gone in with the best. Obviously gone in with Canelo last time out for all the marbles. So I just sometimes wonder if when you reach the sort of top of the pyramid, what does it take out of you then to go back in? That's the question I would ask about Ryder. And obviously he will know that with Munguia being highly ranked with 2 of the governing bodies, this could be still an opportunity for him. Munguia, as we say, he's 42-0, but he's turned pro so early. I think he was 17 or around there when he turned pro. So even though he's 27 now, a lot of those early fights he had were obviously sort of 4 and 6 rounders. So for mine, really, his record is probably more like an 18-0. I'm not taking away anything for what he's achieved. Obviously, these are all professional fights that he's had, but I say a lot of them were sort of 4-6 rounders. So I'm making more 18-0, 20-0, something along those lines. And of course, we know with Munguia what he has achieved. At 154, he was world champion down there, and we know that he defended it. I think he won his title against Ali, and he went on to defend it against the likes of Liam Smith before moving up to middleweight. And we know obviously at middleweight, even at 160, he's big for that weight. I think he's 6 foot in stature. Even though he weighs in at 160, he was getting in the ring at about 180 pounds. So I don't think the size is as big an issue as it might seem. But that said, we just don't quite know with Munguia at 168, how good he is compared to a John Ryder who is used to fighting at that division. John Ryder, for me, should be a former champion at the weight, because I felt like he beat Callum Smith when he went in with Ryder, and he's been in with the very best of them. If we can see that John Ryder performance that he put in against Callum Smith, and even if we get the John Ryder that beat the former middleweight champion Danny Jacobs not so long ago, I appreciate that. I think he got one back there. I don't think he beat Danny Jacobs for me, but what we know with John Ryder is he'll be walking Munguia down, trying to get himself in close range, and try and utilise that southpaw stance close range. Especially be targeting the body of Munguia, the taller frame, not dissimilar to the fight he took with Callum Smith in terms of tactics. We saw Munguia last time out, Derevyanchenko, life and death, and that was a cracking fight of the year contender, which kicked off right from the start, and they both traded leather early. Obviously, Derevyanchenko tired towards the back end, and it was Munguia who came out on top in the end. And I think similarly here, being the home fighter, obviously we know the support that the Mexicans get over on the US, so he'll have a massive fan base, and Ryder, I think for me, will need a stoppage. I think he'll have a difficult night to win it on the cards, so Ryder will be going in there with the stoppage, and as I say, we will see whether John Ryder can deliver one last performance, big performance, or whether it's Munguia's time, that he's the younger, fresher fighter. And sometimes boxing is about timing, isn't it? You sort of feel like this could be the weight division that Jaime Munguia is potentially always lined up to achieve greatness in. So if I had to pick, I'm still going to be swayed by that record. And despite saying look at it with caution earlier, I think still I'm going to pick a Munguia decision win, unanimous decision win. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm expecting a good fight with moments that John Ryder will cause him some problems. Live on the Zone, tuning in if you're watching in the early hours of Saturday morning. Catch my next video. I'm looking ahead to the All British Showdown at light heavy next weekend in London. And of course, Josh Buatsi and Dan Aziz getting us on, and that one's starting to get really spicy now in the build-up. Two great challengers at light heavy, both undefeated fighters. Looking forward to that one as well next week at the O2. So thanks for listening as always, guys. JH Boxing Fan. I'll catch you on the next one.